All right, everyone. Earlier, unfortunately, there was a mass shooting in Boulder, and I'm pretty sure, wasn't there a mass shooting in Boulder like 6 or 7 years ago? And it was a theater shooting, if I remember correctly, and dozens of people died, which is sad. So, we're going to grieve for that. We're not going to celebrate it. But the political aspect of it, what I have to analyze, is a little bit, I think, interesting here. Because for the last few hours, I thought when I saw Boulder trending on Twitter, I assumed that it was about the prior Boulder shooting. I figured that the Democrats were doing a lap, and they were saying, well, on this day years ago, people died. We need to ban guns or something like that. And unfortunately, there was a new shooting. We've now learned the identity of the shooter, and unfortunately, I have a feeling that the MSM will go largely silent regarding this particular event because it was Ahmad Al-Issa, and he has apparently, this is the allegation, can't confirm this, but this is what's being alleged, and this includes on Yahoo. This is MSM actually reporting on it. The allegation is that this individual had ISIS sympathies, not necessarily a member. You've got to understand, when you have a group like ISIS, Al-Qaeda or something, you have a lot of people who they're not part of the group, but they pledge loyalty ideologically, and then they do, crazy shit in their name. Can I ask you something? From the period of 2016 to 2020, doesn't there seem to have been a lull in such cases? Like before, during the Obama administration, or even Bush before him, in all honesty. Because this isn't a partisan issue. That's small-minded, smooth-brained bullshit. Under Bush and Obama, due to, I think, world policing, the idea that the West had become decadent and so forth, there was a lot of terrorism. In the United States, in the West in general. You had the Madrid bombings, you have 9/11, you have all of these things going on. For a few years under Trump, this was largely absent. ISIS went from being, Obama called them the JV team, and then they overrun multiple cities around in Iraq and Syria and so forth. They got completely curb-stomped and were almost an afterthought. Now all of a sudden, and this is why the MSM will probably circle the wagons and not want to talk about this too much, all of a sudden, Joe Biden, Beijing Biden, gets elected. 2 months later, literally fucking almost 2 months to the day, you have presumably a fairly major terrorist attack in the United States. The left is gravitating back and forth between blaming guns and not even talking about the issue. Rather unacceptable, I would say, in an ideological sense. He went into a supermarket and blew a bunch of people away. The Democrats right now opining, but they're ascribing it to a racial motive. They're ascribing it to a racial animus. Well, here we have another white mass shooter shooting up a bunch of people, and all of the news reports are like, well, it was confirmed an AR-15 was used. Can I please tell you something? It's important that people know this. The AR-15 is not a military weapon. It is a civilian sporting rifle. It's a hunting rifle. That's what it is. I love it when people don't know anything about weapons. They're like, well, why do you need an AR-15 to hunt? Okay, go hunt wild boars with your .22 or something like that and see how long you survive. That being said, the fact that it's a popular and modular platform is the only reason that it's indicated in more shootings than many other weapons. The majority, of course, are handguns, revolvers, and semi-autos, Glocks, and shit like that. But the left is trying to use this as a way to attack guns. And here we have a situation where a person, at least allegedly, is pledging support to ISIS of all groups of people. Yes, I'm sure if you just banned a few kinds of guns, this would have stopped the situation. Someone who's completely nuts, who goes and attacks people, again, kills, to my knowledge, 10 individuals, including one of the officers that were trying to arrest him, clearly that would stop him. I got into it earlier for hours with people who were like, well, guns are bad. If we banned guns, this wouldn't happen. And I'm like, well, Timmy McVeigh didn't have that problem. He used fertilizer. Well, if you try to buy a lot of fertilizer, you'll end up on a list. And I'm thinking to myself, how many general chemistry like minors are there from U.S. colleges every single year? You've got to be kidding me, dude. and to grandstand again when the bodies are still warm, when the blood is still running, it's still fresh, it's still red, it hasn't even fucking darkened yet, is just preposterous, to tell the truth. Anyway, I was hoping I wouldn't have to make a video on the subject. I was hoping when I saw Boulder trending, it was just like, and I don't know exactly when it happened, I was hoping it was the Boulder shooting of yesteryear. I was hoping, well, this is about the theater shooting many years ago. People are remembering then the Democrats are taking a victory lap because they like to dance on the graves of other people, and they're saying, well, we need gun control, and that's what I figured. Then I realized it was a new shooting, and I'm like, oh, fucking, Jesus Christ. Ahmad Al-Issa, white supremacist, clearly an acolyte of myself and Richard Spencer. Clearly a libertarian, extremely white individual, motivated by extreme racial animus against the people that he victimized. Now, I don't think that that's actually the case. But if you watch CNN over the next 12 hours or so, you'll see one of two things. Either that will be the animus, supposedly, will be what's fixated on, well, skin color and whatever. They did this to Zimmerman, who was Hispanic. Or they won't talk about it at all. You watch what happens. That's about all. Peace out.